James Harden finally got traded. Yay, right? It was the story that was going to take over once Dame made his way to Milwaukee. Everything turned to what's James Harden? What's his situation? What are the Sixers going to do? Is he going to play? Does he want to play? What does Joel Embiid think about this? Well, now we know that part of his NBA chapter has been closed, and now he reopens a new chapter with the LA Clippers. So right here, I have the details of the trade for you. We have Marcus Morris, Nick Batum, Robert Covington, KJ Martin, Kenya Martin's son, 2028 unprotected pick, 2 second-round picks, a pick swap, which is the new lingo in the NBA. Everybody wants a pick swap. First round pick from a third team, which we later learned will be a pick from Oklahoma City, I do believe, is the team that's the third team. And the Clippers get James Harden, along with PJ Tucker and Philip Petrusev. So the Clippers played last night against the Lakers. We didn't see James Harden. We saw PJ Tucker. PJ Tucker gives you a wing defender. That's all he gives you. Don't be fooled by some talk you'll hear about PJ Tucker being a 3-and-D type of guy. In order to be a 3-and-D guy, you got to knock down some threes. PJ Tucker doesn't do that. He'll hit like one every, 3-4 games, and for some reason people still say he's a 3-and-D guy. I can't figure it out. But it is what it is. That's the reputation he has. Why not run with it? So when I look at this trade, from Philly's side, you'll say Philly wins because it unlocks Tyrese Maxey without having to deal with Harden stunning his growth. I can live with that. I understand that. I believe that as well. But the players they brought in, how many of these players are actually going to make an impact? Look, Marcus Morris, he had a stint with the Celtics. Tough player. Got nothing bad to say about him. You can't say anything bad about him because he and his brother are kind of crazy and they'll come fight you. But Marcus Morris is kind of a ball stopper when he's on the court. I don't think he's been on the court at all this season. So I don't know if he's dealing with an injury or not. But I don't think Marcus Morris part of the Sixers' plans. I doubt that. Nick Batum, I feel like is a serviceable bench depth guy. Maybe he hangs around because I could see some value in him in terms of the second unit. He's a legit 3-and-D type of guy because he can actually knock down a perimeter shot. So I guess you upgrade over PJ Tucker with Nick Batum. That's probably arguable, but I'll just say that. Robert Covington has been in Philly before. I think arguably he's another 3-and-D type of guy, but I don't think Robert Covington has played a lot this season yet. KJ Martin is at least some youth, so there's something there. That as a Sixers fan probably would excite me more is the fact of KJ Martin. You get to see what he could do. The 2028 pick is not going to be used by Philly, at least it shouldn't be. That and the second round picks, whatever, might be used in a future deal. Actually, the first round pick from the Thunder as well, to bring in a name that replaces James Harden, but is a better fit with Maxey and Embiid. And I think there's going to be a lot of questions about who that player is going to be. I think there's been talk about Donovan Mitchell in Cleveland, Zach LaVine in Chicago, guys like that. I'd probably temper the excitement of Donovan Mitchell because he's kind of let it be known he wants to be in New York, he wants to be a Knick. If you're Philly, would you risk trading for him, hoping to make him happy in Philadelphia? Maybe. Zach LaVine, I feel like he's a guy who's in trade talks every year now, especially with the Bulls being bottom tier in the NBA, especially in the East. The Bulls aren't on anybody's mind at the top of the East. You think the Celtics or Bucks are losing sleep over the Bulls? No, not at all. So, I don't know. If they can get Zach LaVine, cool. But, I don't know. How much more would that make the Sixers a contender if they brought in Zach LaVine. To me, the Sixers' future is going to hinge on Embiid, I guess, happiness and health, and plus Maxi's continued growth. Like how big of a star can Maxi become? This season he's going to score probably 25 a game. Can he be a guy who scores 30 a game? Is like a legit 1B to Embiid's and 1A? Because I think right now Maxi's like your number 2. But can he close the gap between he and Embiid to the point where they're one of the more dynamic duos in the league? That with Tobias Harris maybe finally showing the player that he was with LA that got him the deal in Philly. Because now maybe removing Harden from that equation. Now you bump Tobias Harris from a 4th, 5th option to now a 3rd or 4th option. And maybe that fits him much better in Philly. They could play a faster pace. Harden's not trying to run. The man's got a fat suit in his closet he's ready to pull out anytime he wants. He's not about that life, running up and down 48 minutes, exhausting himself, only to not win it at the end of the season. He's beyond that. So look, I like what the Sixers did out of this. I know some people are saying they should have gotten more. I just think it's getting Harden out the door was the main goal. They passed. For the Clippers side, as Jory put, the Clippers are now old, injury prone, and fail to show up in the playoffs. Yeah. So last night we didn't get Harden. We had PJ Tucker. So if you think about it, close your eyes really quickly. Think about a closing lineup of Harden, Kawhi, PG, let's say Westbrook, Zubac. How much does that scare you in the West? I mean, it's decent because of Kawhi and Paul George. Westbrook and Harden in the backcourt is intriguing, but I wonder how that works. Because Westbrook needs to be in a lineup where he can kind of, roam. He's got lanes through the paint to get to the rim. Harden is a guy who needs the ball in his hand to be effective. Off the ball, Harden, can kind of be aloof, kind of check out. And I don't know. I don't know how it's going to work in LA. Tyronn Lue has a tough task on his hand. Because, yes, they have a lot of names on that team right now. But how their games mesh later in the year with the injury history of Kawhi. I think Paul George, I don't really doubt Paul George's durability right now, even though he has been hurt the past couple of years. But between he and Kawhi, like Paul George looks like an Iron Man. It's all going to be about Kawhi. How does he manage the knees? How many games in his mind mentally is he prepared to play? Because whatever that number is, Kawhi's going to stick to it. Ty Lue, Ballmer, nobody's going to push Kawhi more than he wants to push himself. So if in Kawhi's mind he's going to play 65 games and that's it, then the Clippers better take advantage of those 65 games to better their seeding. Because once they get to the playoffs, of course, matchups always make everything. But there's going to be a lot of pressure on this Clippers team, especially now adding Harden, who's another guy who does not have a ring. Although Kawhi has his, yes, I get it. But Liam, what's going on, man? But when you look at the Sixers, PG, Harden, Westbrook needs to get a ring. And Ballmer, you see what Ballmer's doing with the Clippers, distancing them from the Lakers by giving them their own arena. He wants to establish a winning culture. That's the Clippers' own. Because as long as they are in the Lakers building, they're always going to be overshadowed. Because LA is a Laker town. It just is. The Clippers have not been, pinnacles of success. So Ballmer's trying to create something. What way to do that would be if they could find a way to win a title this year, open the new building next year. Ballmer would lose his mind. I heard him on an interview last night, and that guy is pumped up just for the arena. And if I was a player, I'd love to have an owner like Steve Ballmer. But eventually, one of these teams has to break through and actually get it done for him. So look, I like the Sixers side of it because Maxey gets to become the player he needs to be. Clippers side, I do have some questions, especially last night when Harden didn't play and you had a closing lineup that had PJ Tucker and Russell Westbrook in it. Brutal minutes from the Clippers there, which did allow the Lakers to win it in overtime. But we'll see. Harden should help because at least Harden's more of a threat offensively than PJ Tucker and Westbrook. But I do want to see what Lue does with the lineup. Does he push Westbrook to the bench because he doesn't want to play Harden and Westbrook too many minutes together? With the rotations, is he going to stagger minutes with PG and Kawhi to make sure one of those guys is on the floor all the time? Because I do worry, like if you sat both of them, I don't know if the Clippers have enough individual playmakers